Hello everyone and welcome to DES105. This is a quick tutorial on how to do the week 1 assignment, the menu design part 1. So during class, the live lecture, we talked about our learning objectives and we covered each one of these. If you need more detailed instructions and how to tackle this assignment, please go see the recording. This demo will just be a brief one to show you how to create add some new effects to your menu design to create a custom look. So you have been charged with the project asks that you choose one of the 3 menus or one of the 3 restaurants, whether it's Chinese restaurant, the Starlight Bistro, or the Maxwell's Fine Steaks and Seafood. Pick one and then create 2 menu cover designs. Now we want you to be unique and creative, so you'll need to put your own spin on this. You'll get deducted points if you simply just copy the examples. So we want you to use your creative minds here and come up with 2 versions of your menu design. I will demonstrate how to place items and set up your document so that this will get you a quick start on how to do that. So let's jump into InDesign. You will go to File, New at the top here, click on Document, and it will open up a new document panel right here. We'll need to name our document, and here at the bottom of our website, it does specify, let me share my desktop so that you can see it. Okay, so it does specify how you're supposed to save your assignment. So DES105 underscore assignment1 underscore your last name, and then take that off. Then we need to make sure that the width and height are 8.5 inches by 11 inches. And make sure over here at the right under the units box that you select inches. Sometimes InDesign will default to picas or another unit of measurement, so we want to make sure that it's on inches. You'll want to set the pages to 2 because you're coming up with 2 versions of the menu cover. And then you'll deselect facing pages. You want to make sure this box is unchecked. Okay. And then here at the bottom, we need our margins to be 0.375 inches on the top, bottom, left, and right. So on all 4 sides, same value. And then we want to set up our bleed to be 0.125 inches. And you just simply type that in, 0.125 inches, and then it should fill in. You want all 4 boxes to be the same. When this is all set up and you have a name for your assignment, you'll hit Create. And this is what it will look like, okay? You'll have this red bounding box on the outside, which is your bleed line. So all images and background colors need to extend to this red bleed line, okay? And all else text and other things need to be within this purple magenta margin line, okay? These 2 double parallel lines represent your columns, so you won't need that for the cover, but as we move forward in part 2 next week, you will need to know that. And I'll teach you how to set that all up. All right, so here's the menu design that we went over in class a few days ago. And this is the logo. All the logos and pictures are all set up for you in Assignment 1. So once you pick the restaurant of your choice, you'll just scroll down at the bottom and it says click here to download. So you'll click that and it will be a folder that contains your text, all of the information, menu prices, menu items, and then it will also have all of the images that you'll need and the logo for your cover design. All right, so for the first thing that we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to simply create a menu cover in simple way possible. So another tip and trick, if you hit W on your keyboard, that will toggle between the 2 views. This is more of a preview mode, and this one's more of your workspace mode. I'm going to place my logo in here, and how I did that, there's 2 different ways. What you can do is go to your toolbar. So if you don't see your toolbar, you'll just need to click on Workspace and make sure that you've got your different essentials or your book set up. So you'll click on your rectangle frame tool, which kind of towards the center of the toolbar, and click and drag a box, and then you'll go to File, Place, and then you'll find where you saved the logo or the folder that you just downloaded. So once you find that folder, click on the logo or the image that you want to place in there. Then you hit Open, and it will place it for you. So it'll look like this. So I'm just going to place it in here. Now for a menu cover, you kind of want the logo to be fairly large. It depends. You either want the name of the restaurant to be large or the logo. But in this case, because we're using the logo and it's kind of a piece of art. It's artwork or a picture on our layout. We want this to be the star of the show. So it'll be fairly large. If you make sure that if you go to View and go to Grids and Guides, make sure that your Smart Guides and Snap to Guides are all check marked. You want those turned on, because what that does is it allows you, as I hover things over, it lines things up for me. It tells me where the center is or where things will be lining up. So that's what I want. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my rectangle tool, which is right below the rectangle frame tool. And we learned the difference between these in our lecture. So if you want to know more, please check that out. I'm going to simply click and drag, and notice how I'm extending the rectangle box to the bleed line, the red bleed line. And then I'm going to give this color. You can do that in two ways. You can double click your fill box right down here and give it a color. You can move this color picker up and down. I'm going to simply try to match this red, but instead of eyeballing it, what I'm going to do is grab my eyedropper tool, which is all the way here at the bottom of my toolbar, and I'm going to click the red that I want to copy. I'm going to try to match that red that's in my logo, and by doing that, it copies the color into my box. So that's a simple way to add a good foundation to your menu cover. And then the next thing I'm going to do is add a frame around my logo. So we learned how to do that by grabbing your rectangle tool. I'm going to trace the margin line, the purple margin line here, and I'm going to bring it all the way down. And what this is going to do is going to give me a frame, a nice decorative frame for my menu. It's a very simple way of adding a little extra something to your menu design. Now down here at the bottom where it says fill and stroke, if I hover over here, the forefront box is fill and the background box is stroke. If I click the stroke box, this will allow me to give it a color. So again, I can use the color picker to give it a color, but I'm going to use the red in my logo. So I'm going to grab my eyedropper tool and select the red in the logo again. And what this does is it gives me a solid frame. So that adds something really nice to it. If I select the frame box, the stroke, and go to Window and go to Stroke by clicking Command F10 if you're on a Mac or Control F10 if you're on a PC, that will also pull it up. It's a keyboard shortcut. I can increase the weight of my stroke, or down here under Type, I can give it a different decorative look. So I'm going to do, let's see, can do the thick, and then I'm going to add this so you can kind of see what it's doing here. I can also do white diamond. That's also a neat way to add some extra. I'm going to make it nice and thin so it doesn't steal away from the design. And that's a very nice way to add some decoration to your menu design. You can also, in this example that I did, you can add some glyphs to add some character. So this banner here and this handprint is a glyph from the font Davies that I sent an email out on Tuesday that had the links for download if you wanted to download those. So if I go over to this menu design and I select my type tool right here, click and drag, then go up to Type, select Glyphs, which are right here. What this does is it brings up all the hidden characters under each font. Each font has a lot of extra hidden characters. So down here at the bottom, it tells you what font you're on. So if I were to select Times New Roman, I can either manually type it in or use the drop-down menu box to select it. And when I hit enter, what that does is it shows me all the hidden characters that is within the Times New Roman font family. So if you were to select Davies, which is the font I sent earlier, link for download, there's a lot of cool characters that you can use. So here's the hand pointing, and here's also some decorative elements that I could use to border my design like I did over here. Let's see if I saved it. I might not have saved it. Oh, here's another thing. I grabbed one of those decorative elements and I placed them over a black background. I can even adjust the opacity by selecting on these decorations and go to Window. Let's see. I need to make sure my essentials are up. There we go. By selecting on my objects, I can go over here to the opacity, and I can adjust the opacity on them so they almost look like watermarks, like that, or I can have them full-blown, full color. So there's a lot of options there. Let's see, if I were to put a glyph, insert a glyph, I'll go to Type, Glyphs, and say I wanted to add this decorative element. I would just double click on it. And you see it's nice and tiny, so I can click and highlight that. I can change the font size. And then what I would do is grab my toolbar, window. There we go. There's my toolbar. All right. And go to Type, Create Outlines. And what I'm doing is I'm creating a vector. So now this is editable. To resize an image, you'll hold down Shift and Command. That constrains the proportions as you shrink up or down. If you don't hit Shift and Command, it will squish and squeeze, and we don't want that. It will look like this, and we don't want that, okay? So holding down Shift and Command will help us constrain the proportions as we increase or decrease a size of an object. Same with the logo or any pictures. You want to hold down Shift and Command. Now, if you place this logo, say you place this logo, and when you place it, it's a little larger or a little smaller than the actual frame, what you want to do is go to Fill Frame Proportionately, Fill Content Proportionately, and what that does is it fills the content in your frame proportionately, and that's exactly what we want. So going back to our glyph, you can place this glyph anywhere. You can also change the color of the glyph by changing the color there or on your toolbar with the color picker, or with your eyedropper tool. All right, so that's how you place glyphs. That's how you add decorative art or decorative elements with your frame, rectangle frame. That's how you place logos or images, and this is also how you place shapes onto your document. You will also need to place text, and all the text is given to you, so you would just grab your type tool, click and drag, and then you can place your text here. You can also go to your window menu and click on Type in Tables, Character, and Type in Tables Character will pull up the area where you can change the font, font family, the font style, and the font size. Right here is where you would adjust this. So if I wanted something that was sans serif to match the logo, I would do Helvetica, highlight it, Helvetica. Make sure that this is, I could do bold or regular, and then I could increase the size. So for the text, we don't really need it to be very big. We want the logo to be the star of the show. So we're going to keep the font, we want it readable, legible, but we don't need it too big. So in this case, I can put the text here. If I wanted to center it, I can just highlight it and go up here to my settings, my character formatting controls, and hit center. And then I would just center it on the page. So using my Smart Guide, see how that clicks it into place? It tells me where the center is. I can place that down here. So just as you see in my menu design, here's two different kinds. You can even add a frame to your logo. Here's the tagline. This is where you'll put the tagline. The tagline is right here on your, right here, Chinese and sushi restaurant is the tagline. So that's where that would go. And I can center it. All right, so there's some few easy steps that you can use to customize these menu covers. Let me know if you have any questions, and if you get stuck, come to the multi-session tonight. I'd love to see you guys. Thanks for joining.